Um, yeah, so funny thing. Yeah, cat is officially out of the bag. This is real. That is me. I am working on a board game with Ryan Benjamin called Brothers Bond. So a couple of things I wanted to go through so people understand what's actually happening. I met Ryan Benjamin at Northern FanCon in Prince George in 2018. We hit it off. We became good friends, and him and me and another person, Jonathan Thwaites, who I still considered part of the project, but he's just taking a bit of a sabbatical. Got together, and Brian found out that we were game designers. Jonathan had his own project, a board game called No Escape, which funded and is hopefully coming out sometime soon. And I was working on mine for Amethyst Factions. And he approached us to develop a board game based on his Eisner-nominated webcomic Brothers Bond. And yeah, that's basically it. We said, yeah, sure, absolutely. It's been a long process, and the Kickstarter does not have a announcement date yet, so it is still some time down the road. So if you guys don't know, please go to Webtoons, check out Brothers Bond, see what the comic is. It is co-written by a guy named Kevin Graveau. If you guys don't know who he is an actor and a writer himself. He wrote Underworld. So he wrote the original Underworld movie that spawned that whole franchise. He played that just beast of a werewolf character in there as well. I think he's a really good writer. I'm really happy he got involved in that project. And it is a anime inspired it's a manga, and if you look at the comic, it's neat because it's kind of animated. It can have sound effects and stuff like that, which is kind of neat. And it deals with this exiled prince named Yoshi, who after fleeing his empire, his kingdom, and then the kingdom falling into corruption and disrepute, he is rescued and meets up with these two blind samurais, or sword masters, Sato and Tanaka. Now, this is in a Asian-themed, Asian-inspired fantasy setting, so we don't have samurais or stuff like that. But I do know that the term ninja does pop up in the setting, so there is some carryover. And then there's a character named Elki, who's this thief that that Yoshi knows from his youth. And then they set up, and they're basically hiding out for the majority of it in between this giant, multifaceted forest, hiding from both demonic forces that are rising and then the empirical, tyrannical kingdom that has formed up in the wake of the old one. And so they embark on quests, they better themselves, and cover the secrets as to why the world is like the way it is, and then hopefully retake the empire and so forth. So I was given the task of developing the game engine. Jonathan was in the marketing administrative side. Since he's taken a step back, I have had to take on, unfortunately, basically almost every aspect. And so far, things have been moving pretty well. And in the last few months, we've nailed down the game engine, the mechanics, the basic format, how we plan on making it. We've had to make some cuts to design, some of the art assets and graphic ideas, but yet we've also made improvements in that capacity. So Brothers Bond is a cooperative campaign. It's driven using dice rolling, action allocation, tableau building, grid movement, role-playing storytelling, and variable player powers. It has a 4-page map, not too dissimilar, something like Near and Far. And it involves good 200 plus maneuver cards, 100 adventure cards, 200 map cards, and about 48 custom dice. And each session involves several original comics introducing the story, marking the objectives, and concluding the scenario. And there's there's martial arts, kung fu inspired martial arts combat in it. I know some people are going to compare it to other story-based campaign games. it's very kind of almost reminiscent to a dungeon romp, except it is not in a dungeon. I think until the last chapter, there's never a point where we have a battle indoors. It's almost always including some landscape, whether it be a desert, a forest, or various types of forest. There's 4 different maps, so we have 4 different types of terrain we'll see in these maps. But the reason why I'm posting it here so people know is the answer to some obvious questions. The first one is that no, this has not affected the timeline of Amethyst Factions in any way. One of the reasons why I decided to quit my job, anything that required money in retail, I walked away from that at the beginning of January. I did that because I needed to make more room for this game. As I mentioned in previous updates, that the vast majority of the 5th edition game has been done for some time. We've been waiting simply for art assets. Now, there's still a February update. This is not the Amethyst Factions February update. This is interlude for kind of sneaking in. And right now, we're almost done Chapter 10 for 5th edition. Once I do that, everything else gets put aside. I do Chapter 10, which is monsters for all the other systems, and it's going to take probably a couple of weeks, so I have to make sure that's done. My priority has always been Amethyst Factions. It will always be Amethyst Factions. I've been doing Brothers Bond when I can, and it's kind of cool because we've already made connections with the production design, printing. A guy named Noah Alderman from a company called Game Trace has come on board, and if you're a really big board gamer, that name should sound familiar. Maybe not Noah, but Game Trace absolutely. So the production design is definitely going to be there. Is the game going to be fun? I certainly hope so. I was under an NDA, so I couldn't say anything about it, but now it's official Brothers Bond coming to Kickstarter soon. It's going to be probably, my guess is maybe late spring to even maybe summertime before this Kickstarter goes live. But before now and then, you'll be seeing a lot of updates, both from Ryan's channel, from the Kickstarter, and from my channel as I work on this. Now, as stated just a few minutes ago, Amethyst Factions is still the priority. Once Chapter 10, all the artwork for Chapter 10 is finished, it's a mad dash for me to do nothing else but finish the 5th edition Amethyst Factions, then run after that with 4th edition Pathfinder, 13th Age, and then follow it up with Savage World and Fate Core through Chris Stilson. Those, like I said, those are kind of bound to his work, so I have to wait for him. But my 4 books will be out as soon, like literally the moment Chapter 10 gets done. It's just a race to the end. Get it certified, make sure everything is, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and then we can get that released. Now, I have stated also that I plan on making another Kickstarter for something called Ultramodern Redo, or Ultramodern 5 2.0. It could be just Ultramodern 5 Redo, and it is a updated version of Ultramodern with new rules, new mechanics, and potentially, depending on the stretch goals, 3 settings that we can unlock. It is a very, very big project as well for me. That Kickstarter, I can see going live before Brothers Bond does. So that'll come up to the other important thing. Can I have 2 Kickstarter? Now, one thing, once again, the Kickstarter for Brothers Bond will be under Ryan's name, not mine. It's under his label. I will be an associate, but I will potentially, depending on the situation, have 2 Kickstarters running at the same time. Considering that Amethyst Factions had issues regarding the fact that I decided to support 5 different systems, but I shouldn't have. If I just supported 5th edition and the original 4th and Pathfinder, which was the original plan, yeah, there's no doubt that it would have been a lot easier. It might still have taken this long because Art Assets took a very long time to get finished. So I am hoping that well before I decide to launch another Kickstarter for Ultramodern, that I'm fully aware of the responsibilities and the tasks involved before doing that. Specifically, I have to make sure that my art direction is consistent and timely, because that's been an issue. That's something I want to address going ahead with this second project. But they're very much separate. And since this is kind of my full-time job, I will potentially have quite a bit of time. For one thing, right now, as it stands, the Brothers Bond Kickstarter is like the engine is done. Almost everything that I need to have done is done between now and that launch. Right now, it's just administration. That being said, if anybody is watching this video that wants to get involved in the Brothers Bond playtest, message me privately. You can do so either through the YouTube or through Kickstarter. You can go to DSX Machina on Facebook and then private message me. It's quite easy. You can email me at dsxmachina@gmail.com. That's not DSX Machine, it's dsxmachina@gmail.com. And send me, honestly, your credentials, but what kind of experience you've had in testing games, specifically board games. And we'll start. We'll start with the manual, and then work on trying to get a print and play out that'll kind of dictate the first mission, and we'll get feedback and we'll see what happens. Ultramodern will be done a little differently. Like I said, I'm keeping these assets and these projects very separate. So you won't see a lot of the Brothers Bond on DSX Machina. There will be a little bit now and again, but once my projects go live, they'll be the priority. Okay, but yeah, that is a thing. I am developing a board game. It is not a small production. It's a pretty big operation. It's going to be cool. We have comic art, potentially app integration, a lot of cool production design, and hopefully this will all rise and fall based on my engine. So if the game looks great, but just plays badly, it'll be all on me. So that's basically it. That's been the update. Brothers Bond, the board game. You can go to brothers-bond.com and sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the mailing list. It doesn't get sold, it's entirely internal. And you can be, updates can be posted. You'll be updated of updates. You'll be informed of updates when they happen. And yeah, as always, talk to you later.